One of the most difficult things to do in all of life is to directly confront a person who has done something wrong to us. There's a strong instinct within us to pass it over, to rationalise it, to pretend that it wasn't so bad, even to take the blame ourselves. We'll complain to others, but remain tight-lipped in the presence of the offender. In fact, we'd do anything except stand face to face with the person and say, "You were wrong." Perhaps it's all tied up with our fear of further hurt and rejection. In the Gospel today, Matthew gives a setting for addressing issues and problems that arise in the life of the community and the local church. His advice is straightforward enough. If your brother does something wrong, go and have it out with him alone, between your two selves. The Gospel tells us, and I think this is very interesting, it had never struck me before. The Gospel tells us that the offended party, rather than the offending one, should be the first to seek reconciliation. I have always operated on the opposite principle, that if I did wrong, it was up to me to apologise or sort it out. And if I had wrong done to me, then it was up to the wrongdoer to make the first move. The Gospel counsels the very opposite: personal intervention and honest confrontation when someone hurts us. It encourages members of the Christian community to straighten things out with each other privately, if that's at all possible. Christians are to deal with one another candidly and personally. No anonymous complaints to the authorities, no whispering campaigns. After all, the purpose in confronting a brother or a sister who's done wrong is not to humiliate them, but to be reconciled with them. It makes sense, really, doesn't it? If my peace has been disrupted, it really is the sensible thing to sort it out and restore it. And there's something very cleansing about confronting the wrongdoing, even when our perception of what was wrong is not quite accurate. The human spirit feels relieved of a burden and has a tremendous weight lifted from its shoulders. That's why Jesus exhorts us to go directly to the person who's wronged us. I suspect what stops us confronting the wrongdoer is the seed of self-doubt that's planted in us each time this happens. Few wrongdoers will immediately and completely admit their guilt, but rare is the person who is influenced sufficiently by confrontation to reconsider what they've done, to have second thoughts about it. The practical advice in the Gospel centres on Christians taking responsibility for one another. Belonging to a community implies being involved in the life of its members. Just as conflict is certain to happen in a community of sinners, so confrontation can sometimes be the only language of love. Paul tells us in our second reading, love is the one thing that cannot hurt your neighbour. If it's going to be real and authentic, love cannot help but face conflict. We've all experienced putting up with someone's annoying habits or idiosyncrasies for long enough, and then one day we snap, and all the good that we've tried to do in avoiding conflict is washed away as a major huff or worse emerges. The more extreme example is covered in Edmund Burke's saying, "All that is necessary for evil to triumph is that good people do nothing." And doing nothing in the face of wrongdoing and hurt is precisely what the gospel opposes. To follow the exhortation of Jesus requires great faith in the value of truth. It requires faith in the truth, especially when it appears that there is no way that the truth will lead to a resolution of the situation. It requires that we believe Jesus when he says, "I am the truth, and the truth will set you free." Today's gospel message is not easy to follow. Perhaps it helps give encouragement to remember that God will not be outdone in generosity. so we shouldn't be afraid to confront the wrongdoer. What starts out as one of life's most difficult tasks could end up one of the most rewarding accomplishments. It's another step on the road to missionary discipleship.